Hey guys, it's me. It's Queen Offset Haru, and thank you for joining me for another wonderful edition of Ask an Aquarius. If you haven't already, please hit the red subscribe button and smack the bell. Alright guys, if you like this video, please give it a thumbs up and pass it on to somebody else who may like it as well. Also, if you have time, please drop us a message in the comments section. I love reading your messages when I wake up in the morning. So, I was talking to an Aquarius, and he says something very interesting to me. He said that he noticed that he is having a really hard time since he's gotten older and, out on his own. He's having a real hard time making decisions. And as we started to talk about what, exactly what he meant by that, I realized that the problem is that he's having a hard time figuring out how he feels about things going on in his life. I always tell people that I'm the last person to know how I feel about something. This is very common with Aquarius. Many of us have a hard time and we struggle with our feelings. Some of the times we struggle with our feelings because of the fact that we're so busy, we're so caught up, we're doing so many things that we don't even notice that we're feeling something. I remember I was talking to somebody just the other day and I was like, oh shoot. I didn't even realize what I was feeling. They told me. They were like, you appear to be feeling blah. And I was like, you're right. I was so busy that I didn't even notice, but this person noticed because they talked to me all the time and my behavior was a little off. And they were like, are you okay? And I was like, yeah, I guess I am kind of going through it. I was going through a little sad moment because the moon was acting up and it was some kind of retrograde. It was something going on in the stars and the heavens and the way things were lined up. And a good friend of mine died. It was the anniversary. It was their birth date, not death date, the birth date. And all of that together just was like messing with me. And I didn't realize it until the person pointed it out. So as an Aquarius, sometimes we don't notice our emotions. That's part of compartmentalizing because we're so used to ignoring them. We're so used to putting them in the drawer and being like, okay, I'll deal with this after I finish my humanitarian work or whatever we're up to, our book, our research, whatever. When I finish being busy, I'll deal with those emotions. And we're so used to sliding them to the side that a lot of times we don't even realize we feel until somebody points it out to us. So a lot of times, especially when I was first learning about emotions and dealing with emotion, a lot of times I would just simply sit and ask myself, what are you feeling? And I would write. I told you guys this before. I would do this exercise as a writing exercise. And I would just ask myself, what are you feeling? And I would make myself write down what I was feeling. And then I would say, why are you feeling this? And I would write down why I was feeling it. And then I would ask myself, when have you felt this before? Because a lot of things tie into things that have happened to you before. So I would want to see if there was an underlined psychological reason why I was feeling that, and maybe it could tie into an old wound that needed to be healed as well. So that's how I do it. Like I said, a lot of times I really don't even notice it, but when I did notice it in the beginning, that was how I addressed it. Now I'm a little bit better with it. I don't need to do the writing exercise as often, but it is something I have in my arsenal. So if you're an Aquarius and you find yourself having a hard time getting in tune with your emotions, expressing your emotions, knowing exactly what it is that you're feeling, or having consistent mixed emotions. A lot of Aquarius tell me that they get caught up with their emotions because they're mixed. They feel one way one time, they feel another way 15 minutes later. So they have these mixed up emotions, or they feel one way on one hand, but on another hand, they feel another way. So those mixed up emotions can oftentimes cause confusion. And then we end up with what I call, and some of you've probably heard of before too, you end up with analysis paralysis. You're analyzing whatever it is, whatever the situation is, to the point where you don't do anything at all. You just keep analyzing, but you can't figure out exactly what to do. So you end up paralyzed and you just don't do anything. You just like, screw it. You don't do anything, That happened to me a lot. So if you're an Aquarius and you're going through these types of things, when something comes up, you have to do some internal exploration. This is what we call soul searching. And sometimes you do it in the form of journaling. Sometimes you soul search in the form of praying. Some people I know don't like to write that much. So some people use their video camera. They vlog it out, It just depends on what methods you like. But when you feel off or when you feel like something isn't quite right, you have to use one of those methods to get to the bottom of what it is. Maybe you like to write poems or songs to get to the bottom of what is going on with you. But the bottom line is that you have to explore. You have to soul search. I know some people go out in nature. They sit by the creek. They sit by the river. We had a really cool little creek in Philadelphia where I would go feed the ducks, and just sit there and just by myself and think. I think for a lot of people, we can't figure things out too because we spend so much time with noise. Either we're on our phones, we're talking to people, we're playing video games. A lot of people never get quiet. They never get still. They never get in the bathtub, with just some soft music. Or they never go to a creek by themselves just to sit and look at the water and throw stones. People used to do that all the time. Now we do it less and less. Now I'm seeing people on their phone and their iPad more than they're getting quiet with themselves. So when you're on your iPad or on your phone, you're communicating with other people. You're not getting in tune with yourself unless you're using your phone to vlog, like I said earlier. But most people, that's not the case. They're on their phone talking to other people, having arguments on Facebook, making their face look funny with cat noses and cat ears on Instagram or wherever they do that at. It might be another program. I think it might be Snapchat. So people are, they're either playing with their phone or talking to other people, and they're really not investigating themselves. See, spiritual work and emotional work is an inner process. So you have to get in tune with yourself to go through that process. And if you're not doing that, you're especially in situations where you confuse yourself because it's like you can't even figure out what the hell is going on with you. So if you're an Aquarius, I just strongly suggest that you allow yourself that time. You'll allow yourself that time for self-exploration. One of the things that I do, and I tell everybody this because it's very beneficial to your life. One of the things I do is every day I have appointments with myself. I put it in my phone. I have all my appointments in my phone. Any readings I'm doing or anything that's going on is in the phone. So I make an appointment every day with myself. 15 minutes here, 30 minutes there. It depends. I usually do it once or twice a day, depending upon what I'm working on. That way I have time to disconnect from the computer, to disconnect from my, social media. That gives me time to do what I have to do for me. And during that time, I don't allow myself to do anything but spiritual and emotional work. So that's my meditation time. That's my time for listening to meditative music. That's my time for doing yoga if I so choose. Whatever little spiritual things. If I want to read some spiritual books, I have a lot of books I'll read. It just depends on what I'm doing. I might look at my own cards. It just depends. But every single day, 30 minutes is mine. And I always tell people, I say this to people, and some people are like, oh, yeah, it's a good idea. And other people are like, well, I can't get 30 minutes. My children, my husband, my this, my that. And I'm like, your life is unbalanced if you can't have 30 minutes of your own time to yourself. Even if you got to sneak it in your car, before you go in the house, maybe you do need to do that. I don't know. It depends on the person. But my point is that if your life is so unbalanced that you can't get 15 minutes, 30 minutes just to yourself to do a meditation, then something is wrong. Your life is unbalanced and you have to look at your balance. Because I said the same thing when I first started doing it. I was a high school teacher at that time. And I was like, I just don't have time for this. I just don't have time for this. And I realized that when I looked at my schedule, I had plenty of time. I had plenty of time. There was time, like for instance, after work when I wasn't doing anything. I had time to go to the bar. I had time to go to the mall. I had time to get my nails done. You know, I had time for things that I wanted to have time for. So I found out that there was time. And I found 15 minutes before work, and I found 15 minutes after work during that time that could be just mine. And that became my personal quiet time, my introspective time, if you will. So I challenge you to look at your calendar, look at your agenda, and try to do exactly the same thing. Try to find time for yourself. Okay? It's very beneficial if you're able to do it. All right, guys, it's time for me to get going. So, if you like this video, don't forget to give it a thumbs up and pass it on to some wonderful person who needs to start giving themselves some more time too. Also, please come back soon because I have a lot more to say. See you later.